Hey, my lovely stitchy friends, how are you all doing? This is Mika. Today is Tuesday, September 17, 2024, and after a year, I am finally back on Flosstube. It's been way too long, friends, but I'm back. I have my summer vacation now. I've got 3 lovely weeks off, and I thought what better way to start that than by finally doing a Flosstube video. Last time we talked was September last year. I had just come back from a lovely retreat in Basel, Switzerland with my friends. And now in a couple of days, this upcoming weekend, we are having Stitch Basel edition 2024. I can't wait. The suitcase is lying here already. I'm slowly preparing stuff, packing things, and I can't wait to see and hug my stitchy friends again. It's gonna be a great, great, great time. And I thought to make up for lost time, we would make this into a nice, big, meaty video packed with stitchy goodies. As you have seen from the title, we are going to do a WIP parade. It's been 3 years since I last did a WIP parade. The last one was somewhere in 2021. And I got quite a few questions on Instagram as well as here on YouTube. Mika, when are you going to do a new WIP parade? And I think that that is a great idea. So thanks, friends, for that suggestion. So I have a long list in front of me here with all my full coverage pieces. This is going to be a WIP parade for just the full coverage pieces that I have. As you know, if you've been following me for longer, I stitch almost exclusively full coverage. Thanks to A, Pattern Keeper, and B, the pandemic. As we go through the chronological order of things, you will see that things really sped up my stitching when both those things entered the stage in 2020. And yeah, there is a pile this height next to me on the sofa. We're going to go through them bit by bit. And as you can also see from the title, I have a big birthday coming up. I am turning 40 in a couple of days. We are going to have a birthday weekend at Stitch Basel because I know that at least 2 other stitchers also have their birthdays this weekend. And one of them is our lovely friend Dawn, Frosty XStitch, who is this year the organizer of the retreat. So I think we are in for a lovely celebratory festive weekend. And I am going to do 4 new starts for my big 40th birthday. I'm going to show you what those are at the end. I've dropped little teasers here and there on Instagram. You've seen bits of the designs that I'm going to stitch, and I'm going to show you them now at the end of this video. So that is the program for today. But first things first, I hope this video finds you well. I hope you're happy, healthy, safe. There's a lot going on in the world. I am at the moment this week specifically thinking of all my friends in Central Europe, where there's a lot of rain and a lot of flooding happening. I hope you're safe. I hope you're on dry land. I heard from Sasha and her family that they're safe, so that is most important for me. But if you are in Central Europe, I hope that you're somewhere high and somewhere dry. I myself am doing very well. The year has just been full, and it's only now that I have my vacation and that I am really into the Stitch Basel prep mode that I find, let's say, the headspace for a new Flosstube. But all is well. I'm happy, I'm healthy, work is good, family is good. If you follow me on Instagram, you will have seen that my dear grandma turned 99 in the past month of August. I visited her last weekend, and she's a portrait, let's say. We always say as long as Granny, comments on everything, she's in a good mental space. But the year has been, it's just been full, and I've not really been in the proper headspace for a Flosstube until now. Those of you who make Flosstubes, you know that it's not just, or at least not in my case, just sitting down and starting to talk. It is thinking about your topic, it is making notes, it is gathering your stuff, it is setting up your filming area, and then obviously after filming is done, everything is edited and then uploaded to YouTube. It's not exactly a 5-minute task and me rambling for however long this is going to take. It takes a lot of work, and you need to be in the right frame of mind for that. But the year has been good. I have been stitching. You can follow me on Instagram if you don't already. My handle over there is also Darling Bluebell. And probably now that I'm mentioning that, for those of you who might find my channel for the first time now, it has been a year. Let me shortly introduce myself. Hi, thanks for visiting with me. My name is Mieke. I'm a stitcher from the Netherlands. I've been stitching since childhood, and about 10 years ago when I discovered Flosstube and Instagram, the stitching community over there, my stitching exploded, and I have quickly evolved from a monogamous, one project at a time girl into a serial starter, let's say. And I think serial starter is a soft term, looking at the 30 plus WIPs that are beside me. I am a process stitcher. I stitch for the fun of it. I very much love what is known as the SWIWI method. SWIWI stands for stitch what you want, when you want, and that is absolutely my jam. I absolutely applaud those of you who do rotations or WIP go, or who somehow follow a certain game or a certain set of guidelines for your stitching. I don't. I have been playing a sort of game with myself. It evolved into a sort of challenge for myself, where I try to finish a page on one of my full coverage pieces every month. So that is roughly 8,000 stitches a month. I've been going strong with that ever since January 2024, except this summer. I missed the month of July, and it bugs me. So I need to somehow get 2 page finishes, either this month, September, probably not gonna happen, but then either October, November, or December. I need to make sure that I keep up that yearly average of at least 12 page finishes. After I come back from Stitch Basel, I will have 2 more weeks off. I have some things planned here and there, but I will just mostly be at home on the sofa with Flosstube and Netflix and what have you, stitching to my heart's content. So let's see what I can get done. But the year has been full, and me missing my monthly page finish in July was a pretty good symptom of that. 2 things happened that impacted my stitching a bit in a not a bad way, but it impacted my stitching. The first thing that happened is that my dance classes stopped in January. If you've been following me for longer, you know that I have 2 big creative loves in life. One is stitching and the other is dancing. Stitching for me is relaxing, and dancing is re-energizing, reviving if the week has been very full. I started dancing when I was just 11 years old. I've done all kinds of styles. The last 10, 12 years have been mostly Latin American with a love for salsa. But my dance teacher of 10 years stopped per the end of last year. He left the gym where we had our classes for 10 years. And that was quite the end of an era. It's all good now, but it was quite the end of an era, let's say. So over the last year, I joined 2 new dance classes because I definitely wanted, to have that dance moment at a few moments in the week. I joined a female hip hop class here in my city on the Monday evenings, and in a neighboring city, I joined a feminine dance class on the Friday evening. And Friday evening was always my stitching evening. No matter how busy the week would be, Friday evening was stitching. And that is now gone. So that is one thing that has impacted my stitching. I absolutely love the new dance class. We had a lot of fun with last year's season. The season runs from summer to summer, so September to July. We had full-blown dance recitals in June, early July, which was a lot of fun. But I do miss that Friday evening stitching. And the second thing that happened was that a new love interest walked into my life earlier this year. Things are going absolutely splendidly. He's a great guy. He makes me very happy. And I think we are a really, really good couple. But yeah, that obviously does mean that my week rhythm, and especially my weekend rhythm, is quite different now. And that impacts my stitching. So yeah, I missed my monthly page finish in July. I mean, it's obviously no disaster. I'm making things way bigger than they are. But those two things together, combined with just a full year work-wise, they did lead up to me being away from Flosstube for a year. And we are going to make up for that by a good, long, meaty WIP parade and birthday plans. So that's about introductions and a very short life update. If you are not stitching already, I suggest that you grab some stitching, grab a drink, and we are going to dive in. I'm going to take you through all my full coverage WIPs in chronological order. And that means that we are going to start in 2015. Almost 10 years ago. Time does fly, doesn't it? My very first Heaven and Earth designs was Night Moves by Jim Warren. Blue, 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 and more blue. Again, if you are here for the first time, again, welcome. I love everything that has to do with the color blue. Don't know why, it has just been a part of my life since ever. I love blue. I am heavily motivated by color in the designs that I choose to stitch. And things with bright colors, and especially the blues and the greens, they always grab my attention. So Night Moves has a lot of blue, a lot of DMC, 1995, 995, Mika. Don't go back to the last millennium. And 996. And all these projects, before we dive in, I should say, I stitch all my Hades and other full coverage designs on 18 count Zweigart Davosa even weave 2/1. And I stitch everything with DMC. This is Night Moves. The moon, top left corner, sorry for the threads. That's going to happen a lot of times this video. And I remember last time in my WIP parade, I said, look at that moon. When you're stitching it, it's a bunch of greens and tans and olives. And then when you step back, yeah, it's a moon. I love, love, love how that works with full coverage. You stitch, you know, like here. You're very close to your project when you're stitching it. And while stitching, you often think, oh my goodness, how is this going to end up? This cannot be. Do I really have the right color? Yes, I do. And then you put it away for the night, and the next morning you come into the living room and all of a sudden, oh, there we go. I love that. Like I said, I am very much a process stitcher. Out of all these projects that you're going to see, there's only one that I want to have up on the wall at some point. That's going to be this wall. It matches my blue sofa. And the running joke has been for a long time now that the sofa is probably going to get retired before I finish that huge big project. But that's okay. But that is the one thing that I definitely want to get finished at some point. That does not turn me into a monogamous stitcher. I can't do that anymore. But it does mean that the rest of all my stitchy stuff is just for fun. And I know that if you are a product stitcher, or if you are a non-stitcher, like my new man, in the beginning he was like, so don't you ever finish something? Sometimes. When there is a smalls exchange at the last stitchbasel retreat, when there is something to be stitched because one of my friends has a baby, I do finish things every now and then. The biggest thing I ever did was for my godchild, Mini Mika, although by now she's not very mini anymore. That was a big donut stitch frozen piece that I stitched for her. But other than that, I'm just here for the fun of it and for the process of it. That's me. That's me. So that is number one. The second is talking about Mini-Me, Sasha's particular favorite. And that is also the reason why at some point I am going to go back to this project, because I have not been working on it for 9 years, I'm afraid. And that is Celia by Hannah Lynn. This gorgeous blue fairy. I also have a thing for fairies. You will see that in the pile. Blues and fairies. That is basically a summary of my stitching. I started this also in 2015. This is the max color chart, because I had it charted for max colors a couple of years ago. I started her as a mini, because back in the day I was still very intimidated by the regular chart colors, let alone color expansions or supersizes. As you will see going through this pile, I have mastered those fears. I have even, stepped into the dangerous territory of the supersize max color charts, but we will get to that later on in the pile. But back in 2015, I had just started stitching on Hades. Night Moves was my first one. Celia was my second one. And I thought, let's go with the mini. And I did a first page on that. This is the one exception to my 18 count Swiker Davosa. This is 25 count even weave Lugana in goldenrod. Yes, I remember that. Oh, that's cool. Goldenrod by Under the Sea Fabrics, because there is a lot of background going on in this piece. And I thought I would save myself the time and devote more time to her beautiful blue hair. This is Sasha's favorite, and it has not been worked on since 2015. I did the one page finish because there was a challenge on the Hate Facebook group back in the day. I participated in that challenge. And ever since, this beautiful blue fairy has just been gathering dust in my stitchy cabinet. That was full coverage in 2015. We now enter 2016 with a beautiful Amy Stewart design. Meet Miss Mooncharmer Max Colors. This lady has been in timeout for years. And then last year in 2023, I took her out of the UFO pile because I was reading the very well-known A Court of Thorns and Roses series by Sarah J. Maas. And in the second book, we go to the Night Court, and it has all these beautiful moon and moonstone colors. And I was reminded of Mooncharmer. Back in 2016, I had not even finished the first page. So I took it upon myself to finish that first page. And here it is. Starry night sky and shadowy trees. You will see quite a few Amy Stewarts in this pile. There's a lot of Amy Stewart. There's a lot of Genevieve art. There's a couple of Elizabeth Welkers. You will see some more. That is WIP number 3. And then we enter 2020. Like I said earlier, that is when my full coverage fever really hit. Because there was the arrival of the wonderful app Pattern Keeper for Android. If you are an iPhone stitcher, I hear that Markup XP is a very good alternative for that. But Pattern Keeper hit, and that revolutionized stitching, not just for me, but for many stitchers all around the world. And it made especially full coverage stitching so much easier and so much more just easygoing, not having to count. I know that it is technically still counted cross stitch, but for me, with Pattern Keeper, counted cross stitch becomes just cross stitch, if that makes sense. I just have to look at a 10 by 10 block and I don't even really have to count. I just have to see where a certain stitch goes. That's how it works in my mind. And that has really A, sped up my stitching, and B, it has caused me to start so many more full coverage designs. And in 2020, we had a leap day. We had 29th of February, and that caused some friends and I to start a leap day stitch along. And I chose this beautiful freebie from the Hate website. It is called Peacock Daisy. It was a freebie. It is retired. You cannot get this anymore. It will not come back to Hate. So I was very happy that I could snatch this up when it was on the website. We said back in the day, let's pick a project and finish it in 4 years. Did that happen? Well, judge for yourselves. No, it didn't. This is the first 4 pages, I believe. Oh, these colors. Stunning. I'm going to say that with every piece. And I wonder when will be the first time that you hear me say, oh, I should really get back to this. So Peacock Daisy, retired freebie, absolutely stunning piece. Not even max colors, just the regular colors. That means in Hate speak, 90 colors. Very relaxing, very fun. And I don't know how many leap days it will take me before I get this one finished. I'm a process stitcher. It doesn't matter. Very freeing. Okay, then we go to the one and only project that is in the Q-snap at the moment, because I am working on her, and that is the beautiful Astray by Rachel Anderson. This gorgeous lady. Up until this day, I have still not seen that one finished. She is wonderful. And I'm doing something special with this piece. I am combining the regular colors with the max color version. She is in the Q-snap at the moment, so I will put a picture in here of where I am with her. And then this is where I am on Astray now. I'm working on the beautiful butterfly page. I don't know if it will show up, but I've decided to put some petite treasure braid, so shimmery thread, in the white parts of the design. I'm going to move it in front of the camera. Maybe it will pick it up. I'm going to do that throughout the design, wherever there are sparkly bits in the butterflies or in her wings. And I'm going to try and explain to you what I mean by combining the regular colors and the max colors. I've done a whole bit of video about that a couple of years ago, if you want to look that up. The background of this piece I am doing in the regular color version. The big circle where Astray's beautiful face and dress is going to appear at some point, I'm doing in the max color version, because the max color version will give me a lot more detail and contrast in her face and in the flow of her dress. But the regular color version uses the prettier DMC purples in my experience. A couple of years ago, DMC came out with their newest line so far, the 10 up to 35 DMCs, and they contain quite a few purples, specifically 30, 31, 32, 33. They have been used a lot ever since in Hate designs, but they are more grayish purples. If I remember, I will put a comparison picture here. And this regular color version is slightly older. It was charted earlier than the max color version, and that uses the 790 range of the DMC colors, and they are more blue purple, which absolutely is my preference. So whenever I see in my WIP that I am reaching the inner circle of the pattern, literally speaking, I am moving to the max color chart, and everything outside of that I am stitching in the regular color chart. Beautiful, beautiful, beautiful lady. That is Astray. Next, we go to Mania 2020. And together with Jemima and Lydia, and later I learned that also Dobby from Covered in Floss stitches this piece, we started Peacock Plumage by Sue Taylor. This bright, beautiful peacock. There is a max color version of this one as well. And normally I would always navigate to max colors, but I love this one in the regular color version. I think in the max color version it looks a little bit more not muted, but a little darker. And that, you know, that happens often because with max colors you get more contrast, so also more contrast between light and dark. But Peacock Plumage I prefer in the regular version. And here's where she is. 1.5 pages finished. Ah, these electric blues. Here we go. I should get back to this one. Okay, that's the first time. Oh man. This one is just a playground. An absolute playground. Jemima and Lydia started in the top right corner. So if you go to their channels and their Instagrams, you will see different points of this beautiful chart. Yeah, I mean, look at this. This is just a color party, isn't it? Beautiful. In August 2020, we started a stitch along for Dunja's birthday, Tea with Nice Company Cell, we called it. And that had everything to do with the Benedict Cumberbatch tea design that Annerique and I believe also Denise chose. I chose a different picture, but one that very much resembled it color-wise. Lots of greens and blues. I chose the beautiful Aquarius by Pat Brennan. This is a biggie. She is almost 800 stitches tall. But those colors are fantastic. Janet creates on Instagram, if I'm not mistaken, in your Instagram handle. She has finished the regular version of this beauty a while ago, and I absolutely recommend that you go visit her page. I will put her handle in the description and here on screen if I can. Oh, she's fantastic. This is the one piece that I started in the, no, that's not the only one. This is one of the pieces that I started in the bottom left corner. Here's my start. And I started in the bottom left corner so that I can work my way up to the beautiful bright electric blues in the top left corner. You can see the bubbles in the green and the flow of water. I will put her in a little bit closer. These colors. Oh, stunning. Stunning, stunning, stunning. Next, we have the three smallest pieces in my collection. They are Carolyn Manning designs. We are talking Northern Lights, Moonstone, and Turquoise. I intend them as a triptych at some point. And I'm going to put a picture of the three in here. Very minor starts on all three, but very pretty. This is Northern Lights. Filipa Dublin has finished Northern Lights. Check out her page if you want to see how beautiful that is. My favorite of the three is obviously Turquoise. These colors. And Moonstone has had a really, 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 really small start. The smallest start of all my projects ever. Yes, that's it. I know. Mika, when you said a minute ago that you were very much into Moonstone thanks to the Court of Thorns and Roses series, shouldn't you have picked up this WIP? Yes, I should. I should have. Why didn't I think of it? No idea. But I didn't. I need to get back to this. It deserves some attention because they are beautiful charts. There's one more Carolyn Manning design further down in the WIP pile. Then we arrive at the first time that I did a birthday start, and that was September 2020, and that is Patricia's favorite WIP of mine. Fairy 2 by Nadia Strakina. Max Colors. She is so fun. She is so much fun. And I am almost at the end of the row. Let's see if I can show you. Look at that. Oh, that castle, that peacock, that moon, that little fairy at the end there. Oh, yes, 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 yes. Gorgeous. This piece is so much fun. And now let me tell you something about Max Colors. This crown in the middle here. If you look at the back, I will show you the back. The back has got dimension. Literal dimension. As in, it is almost 3D because of all the color changes. Yes, this is my back. I don't mind. So that is one thing that Max Colors that is one thing that Max Color charts give you. Lots and lots and lots of confetti. I don't mind confetti. For me, there is a difference between confetti and ninja stitches. Ninja stitches are one or two stitches of a color, and then you switch. That I don't like. But confetti stitches, meaning, you know, throughout the page you will have various stitches of a color, I'm fine with that. I know it sounds weird, but there is a difference for me in those. So that is Fairy 2 Max Colors. Patricia's favorite and also one of my favorites. Next we go to Deep Water Max Colors by Jonathan Earl Bowser. I have not worked on this piece since starting it in 2020, which is a shame because she is fantastic. This is Deep Water Max Colors. And it's also a shame because this piece has meaning to me. This is the piece that I started at the end of my burnout. If you've been with me for a longer time, you know that I've been pretty sick a couple of years ago. I have fully recovered and I've come out of that period a way better person than before. And when I was fully back at work at the end of 2020, I started this piece as a sort of symbolic standing on a rock in the middle of the ocean and mastering the waves that roll around you. So also with this one, I should really get back to it. But I've only done the first page. Not much to see yet, it's just the splashing of the waves in the top left corner. But this one, yeah, this has meaning to me, so I should get back to that. I should put a little counter in the top of this video for every time that I say that. Okay, that was 2020. Yes, we move into 2021 and we start with the biggest piece that I have. And that is Super Sea Opal by Elizabeth Welker, otherwise known as My Life's Work. If there is one piece that I'm going to finish at some point in my life, I don't care if it takes me until retirement. But if there's one piece that I'm going to finish at some point in my life, it is this one. Because look at that, and then look at my sofa. And yes, the sofa will probably be retired before I finish this, but let's not think about that. Let's just think about how good this is going to look above the sofa. I have finished 8 pages on this, and I am almost at the end of the row. And just like last time, it is going to be a challenge in and of itself to hold this up. Let's see if I do better than last time, because last time I moved it in front of the camera and it was absolutely out of focus. Here we go. Da, da, da. Oh, yes. Oh, there she is. Ah, she's so stunning. Yeah, love it. This is page 9. I've started on that. I finished page 8 in Spain in the past springtime. I've made a small start on page 9, and after that there is, I believe, a partial page 10, and that is going to be the end of the row, and I will have my first row finish. Oh yes, stunning. This one is coming with me to Stitch Basel because I'm absolutely going to work on it. Last year I put it on the brag wall, but this year I'm putting it in a Q-snap and I'm going to stitch on it. Next we move to my first Genovia art piece, and that is Meditation Max Colors. Am I saying that correctly? Yes, Meditation Max Colors. This was a gift from darling Bettina in 2021. Also by Elizabeth Welker. This beautiful piece. Ooh. And I think I finished 1, 2. I believe these are 5 pages already. Not bad. Here she is. Oh yes. Bright and colorful and so pretty. Oh. Elizabeth Welker does fractal designs. She has about 10, 12 maybe, charted by Hate. And they are such a color party. So fun. This is my favorite bit so far. Obviously the electric blues and then moving into the greens. But also these sort of Kraken-like figures. Yeah, stunning, 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 stunning. Like it. Next is 2022. Yes, we move into 2022. That was, thank heavens, the end of the pandemic, and travel restrictions got lifted. And I could finally visit my darling Sasha again. I visited her in the Easter weekend of 2022. And to mark the occasion, I started my first Thomas Kincaid piece, Clock Tower Cottage Max Colors. And I started that because the cozy, homey feel that this gives me is exactly the same feeling that I always have when I visit Sasha and her beautiful family. They live in the south of Germany in beautiful Bavaria. And just whenever you enter their place, it's just cozy. You feel so welcome. You feel so at home. And this piece has the same vibe to me. And I finished the first 2 pages on that one. I moved vertically for this one because the next page to the right would be just the same sky, and I wanted to have a bit of variation. And those trees, I mean, oh. Wow. Lovely. We move to the second Genovia art piece, and that is Magic Roses. Another color explosion. And this was a gift from lovely Sabine. Here is Magic Roses Max Colors. Oh, these jewel tones. Oh. I started in the top right corner and I have the first 3 pages done. And this one is so bright, so bright. Look at it. Oh, I love this. Stunning, 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 stunning. Blue roses, I mean, what more could a girl like me ask for? And after that, I really could not get enough of Genovia art pieces. And I started a second one in her Magic series, and that is Magic Pond. Also, obviously, Max Colors. That is this beautiful one. And this to me has a Disney feel. I've said before that the yellow-green dress on the left really makes me think of the Princess and the Frog and the beautiful dress that Princess Tiana wears at some point. It's so fun, it's whimsical, it's colorful. It is a lot of confetti, but worth it. 2 pages finished and I have started on the 3rd. And I've said it before, but I'll repeat it again. These flowers, talk about ninja stitches. You would not guess it from looking at it, but that yellow-orange flower on the left has about 70 different colors in it. That was ninja stitching all the way, but I mean, worth it. Absolutely worth it. Yep, need to get back to that. Ching! Okay. Next we go to the hashtag AnythingAmySal, hosted by the Stitchketeers, a group of Dutch stitchy friends. And I joined in the fun with Amy Stewart's Love Letters Chocolate Shop Max Colors. This is not my usual style, but there's something Paris-ish, that is not a word, but there's something with a Paris vibe in this piece. And Paris makes me think of Mev and of the time that we spent there together, and the last summer where she fled the Olympics and came to stay with me for a week. I've done a first page on that one as well, and I've called this my Narnia page before because of that lantern that makes me think of the fawn Mr. Tumnus. Beautiful. And then just a few weeks later, in September 2022, I did a double birthday start. I started 2 Bridget Ashwood pieces, the Spring Queen and the Summer Queen. Again, talk about an explosion of color. This is Spring Queen. And this is Summer Queen. Spring and summer are absolutely my favorite seasons of the year. I am not so much a winter girl, although I do like December and the Christmas time. And autumn I also appreciate. There is an autumn piece further down in this pile. And autumn is starting right now here in the Northern Hemisphere. Today is a lovely sunny day. And the weather for Stitch Basel also looks to be in the early or in the low 20s, which is absolutely perfect. But a couple of days ago, I smelled that first crisp autumny scent in the air, and you see some leaves already starting to turn here. And that also has a certain atmosphere, a certain vibe to it. But my favorite seasons are absolutely spring and summer. So let's start by showing you Spring Queen. 2 pages in. Top left corner, and the first big rose is done. Summer doesn't have roses, but lilacs. Ah, yes. I think this is my favorite of the 2 so far. Further down into the design, spring will get way more interesting. But in this top left corner, summer wins it for me right now. And in the bottom right of that second page, you see the purple, pinkish blue wing of the first bird appearing. These colors are so lovely and saturated. Ooh. Yes. That was my double birthday start in 2022. Then we move to 2023. And I was just mentioning that I do have an appreciation for autumn. And I started a autumn piece, also by Genevieve Art, Magic Autumn Max Colors. And this lady is the one and only project in my WIP pile without a single shade of blue. She is the odd one out, but she is stunning. I'm also bringing her with me to Stitch Basel, I think, because I know that Raffaela really likes this piece. So I think I'm gonna bring it with me. I've got the first page finished and she needs working now that it becomes autumn again. And she needs some work now that we are turning into autumn again. This piece is, despite, you know, the absence of blue, those acorns, look at that. The charting is stunning, as always. Pile is getting higher, guys. After that, I joined Mania last year. Stitch Mania, or Mania for short, is always a manic month where stitchers can do whatever they want stitching wise. And I started 6 pieces back then, and I've kept 4 of those. The other 2 are UFO'd. But the first one that I started is absolutely one that I'm going to continue. Waltz Saw Star by Artsy. She had been, I should say, on my wish list for a couple of years. Those colors. Oh. Mania 2023 was a non-Heaven and Earth Designs challenge for myself. And so that included Artsy, among other things. And one of the things that I do like about other designers than hate is that the pages are a lot smaller. I mean, this is a full page on an Artsy pattern. It's so tiny and cute and almost dainty. I mean, it's still a good 6,000 stitches or so, but yeah, much more manageable. So that is the first page done. You can see the blossoms appearing in that corner. The next Mania start was also an Artsy piece, and that was a Leonid Efremov piece, Fog in the Evening Park, also the large edition. I don't need to explain why I love this one. I have a thing for Efremov designs. They always appeal to me. But this is the one that I want to stitch. And I also did the first page on that one. Not much to see, just color blocks and the beginnings of a tree, but very pretty. After that, we arrive at the brightest piece in this pile, and that is Daydream Tigers, the large version by Sheena Pike, charted by Charting Creations, featuring my favorite animal in the world, the tiger. And this piece is so freaking bright. I wonder if it will show up properly on camera. Here we go. Okay, not too bad on my end here. I wonder how it will show up on YouTube, but not too bad on my end here. This is so fun. So fun. First page done, and I really want to get back to this one. And after that, there was one more Mania start I did in Mania 2023, and that was another Carolyn Manning piece, this gorgeous one, Peacock Topaz. And I have this much done on it. My lovely friend Nell, palefirestitcher on Instagram, has given me the idea a while ago already. Mika, maybe you should try and finish a Carolyn Manning design every year, so that at least you have a finish every year. And every time that I look at this piece or that I look at my other Carolyn Manning designs, I always think of that. I still think it's a great idea now. It would be fun to finish one of these, right? Yeah, it would be fun. They're such easy, relaxed stitching. Thanks for the suggestion, love. Then we go to my birthday start for September 2023, another tiger piece. And my friends from Basel surprised me with this because after I came home from Basel, I had my birthday, obviously, also last year. And there was a certain gift card in the mail because those lovely, lovely girls had given me a gift card to a German stitching shop called, let me see if I can pronounce this correctly, Stickteufelchen. I've probably butchered that. But they gave me a gift card for the DMCs that this piece will need. So whenever I look at this beautiful blue set of tigers, I think of my stitchy friends from Stitch Basel. Thank you, darlings. Looking forward to seeing you again. This is by Jody Bergsma. I had it charted for Max Colors last year. And I finished the first page. Here you go. Ooh, beautiful. And if that wasn't enough, during the autumn, one of my stitchy friends from Basel, Dobby, covered in floss, surprised me with a Heaven and Earth Designs chart. We were talking about a new Ciro Marchetti chart that had been released, that we both loved. And at some point in the middle of that conversation, Dobby sent me a message, have a look at your inbox. And she rocked me this pattern. Rock means random act of kindness, and she sent that to me. Ah, this is so fun. I've been wanting to start a Ciro Marchetti pattern for years, and this is the one that absolutely stood out to me. As you will see in a moment when I show you the first page, I am cropping it just a little bit. This first left bit, the first few columns on the left, they are very dark with lots of DMC 310, lots of black, and I just don't enjoy that. So I'm cropping a few columns off, and other than that, it will not really impact the design. But that just makes the stitching a lot more enjoyable for me. So I do have a first page finish, but it looks a lot tinier than other Hate page finishes. This is the one. Ooh, yes. Thank you, Dobby, again. Beautiful, beautiful design. And if that wasn't enough, autumny vibes, I also started my first, the Cross Stitch Studio pattern. That is a mouthful. The Cross Stitch Studio pattern. That was a piece by Abraham Hunter called Hiding Place. This gorgeous, gorgeous chart. And it was Annerique, stitchingchoco, over on Instagram who pointed me to this particular design company because I had never heard of them before she mentioned them to me. And I'm so glad that you did, because their charting is stunning, stunning. This is the first page on that. Look at that sky and then those autumn leaves. Yeah. Can't wait to get back to this one. Very, very, very pretty. Those were my starts for 2023. And now we arrive in the current year in 2024. And despite this huge big pile behind me, there are still a few really large pieces to come, because this is the year where I got introduced to the supersize max color charts, aka the big biggies, the biggest charts that Hate makes. A supersize max color chart is always 999 stitches wide or tall at the biggest side. And I said no to those for years because I could not imagine stitching them on the 18 count fabric count that I use. But yeah, Amy Stewart and stuff and temptation, and I dove in and it's been a lot of fun. But before we get there, I have to tell you about my New Year New Start for 2024, and that was Winter Queen Max Colors by Bridget Ashwood. And this one is unfortunately a sad story. I finished the first page of that somewhere in February And once I had posted that page finish on Instagram and I took it out of the grime guard and out of the Q-snap, I was looking at the fabric thinking, that looks off. I removed the Q-snap and I realized that I had done something that I've never done for as long as I've been a stitcher. I put it in the Q-snap the wrong way. This is a portrait chart, so a vertically oriented chart. And I somehow managed to put the fabric in horizontally, so landscape mode. And I did not realize that until I had stitched almost 8,000 stitches. I had spent a full month on that, and I took it out of the Q-snap and realized, I've not told you this on Instagram yet. You're hearing it here for the first time because I was so disappointed in myself. This has never happened to me. I always count and count again. I always measure my fabric 2 times, 3 times. I always make sure that I put, things in the correct way. And in all my years of stitching, this was the one and only time that I put a fabric in the Q-snap in the wrong way. And I've looked at this chart various times since February. I've tried to kick myself into restarting it, and the love is gone. So yeah, this is a sad story. Maybe it's a sign of me and winter not being very compatible with each other. Although I think that is not the case. It's just me not paying attention. So this piece is not coming back. It has been completely UFO'd, and I will put the fabric to good use for something else. And that means that my new year, new start is not going to be continued. Luckily, when we move to the next topic in this video, my big 4 for 40 birthday party starts, you will see that there will be a different winter piece. And that is going to be a winter piece with a lot more blue instead of the purples in Winter Queen. So I'm going to give winter another chance. I think I should do that. Having said that, 2024 has been a really fruitful stitching year so far. And it has been the year of the supersize max collar charts. And the first one that tempted me and has tempted me for many years is, how can it be anything else? The supersize max collar version of A Stitching Shelf by Amy Stewart. I finally caved and I started it. I started in the bottom left corner, so I started a winter scene with a lot of blue and with a fox. Amy Stewart loves foxes. She will always put a fox in her design at some point. And I finished the first 2 pages of it. Oh, look at that. Oh, love it, love it, love it. The first page was a partial one, so just a couple of rows and then a full page on top of that. And I think when I continue on this, it might be going up even more because we get into an autumn scene. Yeah. Love it. And I mean, look at how thick this fabric is. I folded it over once, twice, thrice. And I mean, this is heavy. I should put it on a scale. This is heavy. This is oh, I don't even want to know how tall this is. This is easily 140 by 120 meters. Let's not think about that. I started this in the winter for my grandma. My grandma is 99, as I told you at the beginning of the video. She's still going strong, mentally speaking, but her body is frail and old. And for the last few winters now, she will always catch a severe cold or a flu or some kind of winter virus. And we always dread, you know, the phone call that might come from the home where she lives. So it was a tense winter on her health front, but Granny came out of the winter alive and kicking. And during the springtime, she found her old vibe again, and she is now the Granny that we all know and love. And yeah, I started this for her because her and my mom taught me how to stitch, and I love that stitching is a craft and an art that has been passed down through the generations into the 21st century. I love how much pleasure it gives us. I love how it connects me with all of you and people from around the world. We just have a fantastic hobby, absolutely fantastic hobby. And if I would have to choose between dancing and stitching, I would choose stitching, period. I hope I will never have to make that choice, but if there would only be like financial room for one hobby, it would easily be stitching, period. So that was supersize max color, or abbreviated SSMC number 1. There are 2 more in the pile. First we go to Mania 2024. I dubbed that Beasties Mania because I was going to start a pattern with dragons, and I was going to start a pattern with, among other things, tigers. The dragon pattern was Dragon Race Into the Night by Rose Khan. This used to be charted by Hate, but Hate has retired Rose Khan's patterns and they are now charted by Pain-Free Crafts. And I did the first page and a bit on that. Here's the top page. Sorry, the top left corner. And I am immediately going to tell you that this has been UFO'd since. The chart is lovely. The charting by Pain-Free Crafts is also splendid. If you look at the various Rose Khan patterns that they have done, they are making them almost supersize in the standard variation, so you don't have to request that. And these patterns absolutely deserve that. But as you're going to see in a minute, there is another SSMC being started on this fabric, and I love that one more. I just love that one more. We will get to that because that is not yet here. So Dragon Race Into the Night is UFO'd. It is a beautiful chart. It is also beautifully charted by Pain-Free Crafts. They have done quite a few Rose Khan pieces by now, and their charting looks really good. But now that I have ventured into the realm of the SSMCs, and I've got this one started and 2 more started that you're going to see in a second, I quite quickly realized that I don't love Dragon Race Into the Night as much as those 3. And Dragon Race Into the Night is almost a supersize. It is, I believe, 850 wide. So if I am already out of love with that one, I better salvage that fabric and use it for something else. This is something that happens with me. Being the serial starter that I am, I fall in love quickly with patterns, but I sometimes also fall out of love. Not with most of them, as evidenced by the big pile behind me, but sometimes a piece will catch my attention and then just, how shall I say this? The butterflies will not evolve into proper stitching love. Is that a good way to say it? I don't know. Anyway, Dragon Race Into the Night. While I was working on that second page, I quite quickly realized this is a recent start and I already don't really love it anymore. Okay, I am moving on. The second piece that I started during Mania is a piece that I absolutely am still in love with. And I love it so much that I even had it charted for SSMC. Supersized Max Colors Shangri-La by Ciro Marchetti. I've had this chart in the regular size max color version for a couple of years. I have been very close to starting it at some point, at various points actually. And I always looked at the mock-up of the max colors and thought, there's so much going on in this chart. I want it bigger. I want that detail. So I took the plunge and I had it charted for SSMC. And I have finished the first page. This is the top left corner. Greens, leaves, trees, and on the next page to the right, the first monkey is going to appear. Again, quite some fabric, quite some weight to it. I think I have jokingly said to either my brother or my boyfriend a while back, I should have a look at the insurance of my house to see if, you know, there is enough to reimburse me for all the fabric and all the threads that I have, if something would ever happen. Then we arrive at the chart that you've seen me working on most recently on my Instagram. That is also an explosion of color, again by Genevieve Art. This is Rainbow Angel Max Colors. Oh, look at that. Oh, again, what a party to stitch on those. Oh, she's lovely. I have just a couple of days ago finished the first page, and here is what that looks like. Oh, there's a blue butterfly. There is this lovely sort of out of focus background, but still, this is just the background, and look at the definition and the color and the contrast in it. Oi, oi, oi. A fun one. A fun one. And then finally, my last SSMC for now. Now that I have, you know, stepped over that threshold, it is very likely that there will be more in my stitching future. But for now, the last one is a piece that I have been thinking of ever since it was released in 2019. Once Upon a Fairy Tale by Amy Stewart, SSMC. This is the one. This is the one. I've done quite a long talk a few videos ago about this particular piece, how I got swept up in the craze when it was released in 2019, how I purchased the supersized regular colors and never started that, how I then started a story keep, no, not a story keep, a quick stitch version of just the unicorn and the dragon a couple of years ago, together with Jessie Marie Dustov. She's still working on that quick stitch. And this one, you know, sometimes something will just not let go of you. I don't know if you have that same feeling with your stitching, but I tend to have that with things in my life. It could be a piece of music that doesn't let go of me. It could be a book that I cannot get out of my head, or a movie, or whatever. But this chart, it has been screaming at me ever since 2019. And then Mev Stitches in Paris was here in the summer. We talked about starting something together. My boyfriend had a look at this chart. He is also, just like me, very much into fantasy and fairy tales. And the combination of that, it made me bite the bullet. And I'm very glad that I did. First page finished. Oh, that owl is not white. It's just not. There is gray and purple and even light blue. I mean, that charting is glorious. So yeah, again, heavy stuff. And that's it. Like I said at the beginning, the pile is yay big. Oh, Mika. I need to somehow stretch my lifespan into 200, 300 years. Yeah, I've said it before. I think I have reached what is known as SABLE, Stash Acquisition Beyond Life Expectancy. And I don't care. Because guess what? In a couple of days, I will turn 40. And for my 40th birthday, I'm going to start 4 new charts. And just like with Mania a couple of years ago, I'm going to do 4 charts that are not from Heaven and Earth Designs. The first one is going to be a charting creations pattern. A pattern that has been on my radar ever since Winter Queen turned into a disaster and I UFO'd that, but I definitely wanted to have a winter piece. I have Spring Queen, I have Summer Queen, I have Magic Autumn. I want a winter piece in my stitching collection, in my WIP collection. And I found this lovely Christmassy winter scene. This is Tinseltown, charted by Charting Creations, artwork by the McNeil Studio. It is a biggie. It is 850 stitches wide. Oh, it's so cozy. I love the December vibe. I don't like January. I don't like November. Those are just not my months when it's cold and rainy and dark and not a lot of sunlight. But December and Christmas time, I absolutely love. There's going to be start number 1. And the other 3 are charts by the Cross Stitch Studio. We have the music of flowers. And that is going to be a gift for my guy. He is a musician and I saw this chart a long time ago. It is one of the insider patterns. The Cross Stitch Studio has an what they call a TCSS insider subscription. And I got this one and I think I'm going to make it for him. He knows it already and he likes it. So it doesn't have to be a secret on my Instagram or on Flosstube. But yeah, I think I'm going to make this one for him. And then there are 2 flower charts, also TCSS insider patterns. Blue and gold tulips. Beautiful. And one where I am modifying the colors of the background. This is an oldie from the Cross Stitch Studio, Vibrant Bouquets. And as you can see, this has a purple background, but with the mere change of 3 DMC colors, thanks to Pattern Keeper, I am meekifying that pattern. And I'm going to show you, if my Dropbox will work with me, what that is going to look like. Here we go. This is the original. I first turned it a little bit more tealish, with 3 of the background colors becoming 598, 597 and 3810. And then I settled on blue. 3846, 3845 and 3810. And that is going to be my conversion. These colors appear just in the background of the design, so that's not going to be a problem with the flowers in the foreground. And this is going to be, I mean, look at that together with the sofa. That much talked about blue sofa. Yeah, and that I'm very happy with. So that is my 4 for 40 birthday party plan. I've got the fabric ready. I've got the bobbin boxes ready. And yeah, I think it's going to be a lot of fun for the 2 weeks of vacation after Stitch Basel. And that is everything that I wanted to tell you and wanted to show you. I hope you've been stitching away happily while watching me and my projects and listening to my stories. I hope you've made some good progress on your WIPs. I hope you will have a wonderful day, a wonderful week. My lovely stitchy friends that I'm going to see in Basel, sending you a big kiss already. Can't wait to see you and hug you. And I hope everyone will have a wonderful September stitchy-wise. I hope you're happy and healthy and safe wherever you are in the world. And I hope it will not take another year before I'm back on Flosstube. I'm not making any promises, but we will see. Happy stitching, my friends. Ciao, ciao.